What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers Programming 101. When we left off in the last episode, we finally managed to get a bit of a working inventory system going. We're pretty much done with the basic version of inventory summary. As I mentioned in the last episode, we still have stuff to do, like refining how it's displayed and, you know, all that blah 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 blah. But it's still pretty close to being done functionally. So we have our display all that shows us all the different containers or anything with an inventory. We can go back, we can scroll to total inventory, which will tell us all of the materials that we have available, or the total number of individual materials, and we can scroll up and down through that. Then we can go back, and we can go up to individual, and then we can see the individual inventories, and we can scroll through those. So pretty useful. Now, I'm going to go kind of in order, I think. Well, I don't know, maybe I might work on power. Power seems like it could be useful. Alright, so let's go with power. Let's work on power. So what I'm doing here, you might have noticed I have this other one set up here. This is called Get Detailed Info PB. So basically what this one is for, you might have guessed. I'll give you a second. Can you figure it out? That's right! It's to get the detailed information of certain blocks. How did you know? Okay. So, what we're doing here, and I did have a button set up in case I decided to copy it to where it runs with up and down. So if we wanted to scroll through it, we could. I'm not really sure I'm going to implement all that, but what I am going to do real quick is we are going to say, let's see, what do we need? I need an my text panel. We'll call this display, and it's equal to grid terminal system get block with name, and oh, that needs to be an as my text panel. So that'll be our display. Now I'm going to do this a bit differently. What I'm going to do here is basically loop through the grid. I equals 0 while I is less than grid terminal system dot blocks dot count. I think I can get away with that. Maybe. Side note, I don't know why I left the music on. Will that run? Block with name. Wait. Does not contain a definition. Get Bach. Ah, I'm trying to get a music composer. That's why. Get Bach with a name. Yeah, I don't know why this is here. Go away. Oh, one other thing. I completely forgot to turn this off so that you can see my cursor. I always forget to do that because I don't like it in my Let's Plays, but in programming it's nice because I can point to things. So I changed the name. Here it is, Detailed Info LCD. That's what I needed. We're going to put that there. So now what we're going to do is pretty simple. It's just going to be... yeah, it won't matter. Not for this. So we're just going to go display dot write public text grid terminal system dot blocks at I dot subtype name? I always forget how that works. ToString. Plus, give me a new line. Actually, we're going to do colon and then new line. No, we'll do one. That's fine. And then grid terminal system dot block. Okay, you're just not going to move for me. Cool. Dot blocks at I dot detailed info dot ToString. And then just because we'll add 2 new lines. Yeah. Now I am going to pull that back up, but for some reason it's being weird and doesn't want to show it. Actually, hold on. We also need to say append. So we want that to be true. And then we'll back this up. Okay, so once that's done, then we'll do display dot show. I always forget this one. Public text on screen. And then update visuals. Let's see if we get any errors there. Yep. Subtype name. There's... Are you... My text panel does not contain update. Is it update visual? I know this one is pretty close. Okay. This one I'm not so sure about. Subtype... I thought it was subtype name. Maybe it's just name. Oh, wait, no. Is it custom name? Yeah, okay, cool. There is a subtype name, but it's under a different... It's like block groups or something. I don't remember. So let's run that. Alright. Now, I could go through and do, you know, up and down controls to scroll through this, but instead what I'm actually going to do is just view it from here. So what this is going to do is it basically gives us access to the detailed info panel that would be pulled up. Though, I don't know why it's only giving me this stuff. It should be giving me, like, reactors and stuff, too. Huh. Well, that's weird. Let's try this. I don't want to work on this too long, though. Let's put this in an if statement, and we'll do if... grid terminal system dot blocks at I detailed info. Actually, I don't know if I can do the... Yeah, I can, I think. Contains... And we'll put input, as in it requires power. Let's see what that does. Okay, it works, so that's something. Except it didn't really do anything. It's still all just thrusters and LCD panels. Weird. I wonder if the LCD panel ran out of room. I wonder if that's the problem. Because we should be getting, like, timer blocks and stuff, too. Wait a minute. What about this? What happens if we do that? Let's try that. Reactor show in terminal. I'm wondering if that might be causing a problem. I've never actually done that before, now that I think about it. Alright, reactor. I see no reactor. I might have passed it, but I don't see it. That's really weird and very odd. Huh. I find that very strange. Alright, well, let me go through and figure out what I need, and then we'll come back, because this is confusing and I don't want to eat up all of our time. Alright, so I isolated the problem. It was actually an ownership issue, so I just copied everything and told it to be under me. And now when I run it, we actually get everything. Assemblers. One interesting thing, though, is stuff like cargo containers. Obviously, they don't require power, but I'm surprised that, like, medical room, lights, things like that don't show up. And that's kind of intriguing to me, because they have to have power. So I don't really understand. Like, I don't really get how that's not working, kind of thing. Like, how that's not coming up telling us this is how much power it uses. It's really kind of odd to me. But anyways, I went through and looked at all these for getting the inputs and stuff, and I put them all over here. So we can look at the actual string that we're looking for to find what every device looks for. So we're looking for required input. Max required input is all that we get for a gyroscope. It doesn't actually tell us the current, unfortunately. So we have required, and current seems to be kind of the recurring thing. Why is this full over here? Oh, I found a bug in this is kind of why it's a haphazard code, is with all of this set to true, I have it set up to repeat this process on this screen just because I was going to edit it later and I didn't end up doing it. But because there's never one that clears the screen, it just keeps adding to it. So that's kind of a problem. Let me check real quick. Where's the gyroscopes? Yeah, it doesn't tell us the actual input. It just says power. Supplied power affects... Okay, so it just max required input is going to be based off of this, I guess. Interesting. Okay. Now, there are a couple of easier ways to do this, like finding, for example, let's comment this out so that it doesn't keep adding to our screen here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of this until we find power devices. So reactor is one. Next should be battery. And I don't know if this build has any solar panels on it or not. We should probably throw some on there just for completion's sake. No, it does not have solar panels, unfortunately. Alright. Now we're just going to throw one, like, right here, just so that we can access it. Let me go ahead and I'm going to cut that. And then we're going to put this in the private text so it's not continually edited. Solar panel. Okay, we're going to change that and run. Alright. Same kind of idea here. We're going to look for the solar panel. It should probably be on the last of the list, just because it was the most recent block. There it is. Solar panel. Alright, and we're going to extract that and put that in the private as well. And what that will let us do is it'll give us access to the main power sources. Now, what I'm really looking for here is we're going to... I don't know why I didn't think of this before, so you can kind of almost ignore everything that I just did to look at... I don't know why I was thinking get all the current stuff. All we really need to do is get all of this into accurate information. so that we can identify the max output, the current output of each of these devices. Now, I'm not looking at time yet. That's going to be kind of its own little beast. What I'm looking for is when we... What did I have set up for power? Wow, being really touchy today. So we have power status, solar status, uranium status, full power, and minimal. The last two are going to be active. They're not display. They're going to be actual, click on it and it goes to full power, which turns everything on. Or minimum, which is going to go through and pick like medical bay, turn off your refineries, turn off your assemblers, keep your oxygen stuff on, stuff like that. But power status is going to be the tricky one. Solar status and uranium will be a little bit easier. We should probably work on those first, and then we could probably duplicate the code. So what I'm going to do, real quick, is I am going to copy this information about our power generating options, and I'm going to paste it into Visual Studios, and we're going to work on it from there so that we have a bit more room to move. Okay, so here we are back in Visual Studios. I have our power reading stuff down here, which is all well and good, but we do need to do some setup work before this happens. So we're just... No, I didn't mean to comment that out. I meant to collapse it. What's the collapse thing? Outline, hide select, Control M, Control H. Got it. Okay, because I don't want to close out these menus entirely. Mostly just because we do need to do some edit work on them. I left this one up here as well so that we can work on it, but the biggest one that I need to fill in is this part so that it actually changes the submenu. So first one is going to be power status. Second one is solar status. Status, full power, and one last case. I don't know why it did that. Oh, it's probably because the IntelliSense is all confused. Minimal power. Okay, so then I can get rid of this. Hello? Well, that was only weird. Right. Good, no errors. Okay, so this one's done. I think I can close... Well, we'll just go from primary menus here. I might need to do a sub. Okay. And we'll get rid of individual inventory menus. There we go. That'll make it a little bit easier to move around. I don't think I'll need that one anymore. Alright. I am going to expand this just for a second so that I can copy it. Then... Wait a minute, where did it go? Oh. Oh, that's right, displays. Okay, there we go. Whew. Confusion! Alright, so we're going to paste this in as an example, and we're going to use power status as the first part. Current menu would be power, I think. Let's take a look. Inventory, refinery, power. Yeah, so it would be the primary one. Oh, did I screw up? Selected menu, inventory. That's oxygen. Where's... Okay, so I did leave spaces. Let's fix that. I want the same kind of naming convention amongst my menu states. Okay, cool. So, go. Oh, I put it under oxygen. I was like, where did my menu go? I put it under oxygen. Well, you know, sometimes you just don't see things. Okay, so power status. Okay, cool. And then we're going to need to duplicate this a few times. That should be, yeah, all that's fine. This should be solar status, then uranium status. Now, I'm going to put this in here as a placeholder, but in reality, these last two will probably not have the same functions. Like, these will probably just call a function or something. I'm not quite sure on that yet. Okay, so this should be done. Because now it's basically set up the same way. Selected menu item. Oh, okay. That's the only other little step I could do, is change this to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's done. So we should be able to close update selection. Now for this, we're going to have to do... Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Power status, solar status. What were the other ones? Oh, uranium. And full power. And that might end up changing to maximum power, because max and min just works better. Minimum. Spelling. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is basically copy this. Pretty much. I won't sugarcoat it. I'm copying this. This is all primary menus. Yeah, so that doesn't matter. And for this, we're going to change this to power status, and then it's going to call power status, which we have not made yet. Oops. Right. Actually, let's see. We'll call this inventory methods. Let's do... I'm actually going to do this under the comment, so I can reference it. Power methods. So we're going to do one called power status. Solar status. I'm going to go ahead and call this maximum power. And I'll just eventually change it at some point within the script. There we go. So there's all our functions we have to work with. We're not going to get to all of these today. Actually, we'll be lucky if we finish all of them, or I mean, one of them completely. Alright, full power, minimum power, uranium status, and solar status. Now, one thing we can do just because is we could just go through and paste these in, but it's not a big deal. Actually, there's that too. We can tab it in now that it's actually a function or method, whatever. Alright, so that should be good to go. So we can close that. Now we get to actually work on the nitty-gritty stuff. So, I'm wondering if I actually want to go through and set up a method to acquire the batteries and all that kind of crap. I think for now I'm just going to do it in one of these functions. We're just going to do it similar to this. I'm going to copy this part. Not because we actually need it for anything, but because it'll tell us kind of how to access the somewhat like custom name to string. Actually, no, this isn't what I was looking for. I'll leave it there, but that's not what I was looking for. I was actually looking for this one, where it loops through and finds things of a certain type. That's actually what I was looking for. So maybe I won't leave that there. All right, cool. So for this, I'm going to do acquire reactors. Acquire. Actually, we're going to do this all in. I think I can do this all in one loop. Power generators equals 0. I is less than grid blocks. I'm not going to put these in a group. Count, which will change kind of how our loop structure is too, as well. If grid blocks. Wait a minute. We have to skip down to this line, I think. I dot block definition dot to string contains. Now, what I'm going to do is actually copy this, and then we're going to do some OR statements. And I'm going to explain what that is in a minute. If it contains reactor, battery, or solar. So, and then we can close this. Well, should have been able to close it. What's the problem? Valid expression term. What's invalid about it? Contains. I wonder if it's because of the word wrap. Tell you what, let's just close this and see if it fixes it. There we go. I don't think it liked the... Yeah, what is... Terminal system... dot box... Oh, okay, I was backspacing and it was word wrapping. That's what it is. Alright. So for those of you that may not be familiar with Visual Studios, word wrapping is where it's like it doesn't actually space it any further down, I don't think. So for example, this says line 809, and this says line 809, and this is line 810. So it doesn't actually see this as two different lines. It's doing it for your reading purposes, that it sees it's not... Kind of unlike what the in-game text editor will do. So what this is basically checking for is if it's a reactor, if it's a battery, or if it's a solar panel. That's what that's what I'm going for. Now, if you introduced a mod that had some kind of solar or something else that didn't generate power, it might screw things up, just because it's going to be looking at that as, hey, it has solar in it, but it's not really a solar. So just keep that in mind. I think because we're using the block definition and not the custom name and stuff, it should be okay, but theoretically. Okay, now we come to the tricky part. We've got this acquired. But what we need to do is loop through all of this. Oh, I need a list to hold all this. So let's do list. Ooh, this is going to be tricky. I'll just put them in as terminal blocks. It'll be able to figure that out, I think. My terminal block. Power gens equals new list and my terminal block. All right, so we have our list to hold everything. So if that's the case, then we're going to do power gens dot add, and it's going to be the current current block. And because I did it as an IMyTerminal and everything is IMyTerminals, it should accept it. Now, I think this will work okay. We'll have to test it in game to actually see if it will behave correctly, because I'm pretty sure I can just run detailed info off of all of these and get what I need. Don't really know for sure. Alright, so what I'm going to do... Alright, here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to make a new... I don't know what it returns. Oh, it should be a string. Okay. So what I'm going to do is return a string value. Well, I don't know if I want to do it that way. What I'm thinking is I was wondering if I should make a method for converting the power all to watts. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to. Let's do float convert to watts, and then it's going to accept a string, and this will be value, and then a string, and this will be ID, like its identifier. Then we also are going to return a string and call this one calculate say calculate power percentage. It's going to accept a float called power. I think. I'm not entirely sure if we'll end up using both of these or not. Why are these? All code path return. Oh, okay. I haven't put any return values in here. I think I can get away with return null. Nope. Okay. Well, we're not going to worry about it. Okay. I will have to pause it just for a second to look. I got to remember how to convert everything. Alrighty. So, I've got my conversion table here now. We have gigawatts, megawatts, kilowatts. And I got two different ways to do it, but this is the stock conversion if you have this and you're going down to watts. If you're going watts to whatever, like gigawatts, then it would end up being like this, basically. So 1 watt is point this many gigawatts, 1 gigawatt is this many watts. So this is more the one we're going to be using more often, but I liked having the table there available so that we can look through it. Okay, so we've acquired the power generators. Now we need to isolate these types of things, basically. We need to isolate the min-max power grid, whatever you want to call it. Alright, we're not dealing with time yet in terms of the batteries, but I am going to keep that there. So all we really need is max output and current output. Which, this one has max output, this one has current output. And this one has max output here, and it does have a current. Okay, so that's really all we need. Let's see, though. We have to figure out, let's do, let's do... let's say trim list, maybe. So what we're going to do here is make a string array and call this values. I don't know if we have to instantiate it. I don't think we do. So for this, what we're going to do is... Well, hold on a minute. Yeah, this is probably better. I was going to say I don't know if we need to do 2 loops or if we could do it in the first one there, which we probably could do it in the first one, but Let's do powergens.count I++. So what we're going to do is go through and we're going to say values at I, or no, say values, I don't know if I can do this or not, plus equals powergens at I dot split. Wait, no. Can I do that? ToString. Oh, that's what it is. I need the detailed info page. Then I can split it by space. I was afraid of that. Operator cannot apply to string. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Okay. Dot add. Can I add to a string? No. Dot. Oh, what is this? Join. No, that won't work. I don't think it'll work anyway. Okay, so this is what I was afraid of, is... let's make a list. I know I can add with lists. Well... The only thing is I've got multiple things to add. Okay. Think. Is there a way... Recall if there's an easy way to clear a... a string, or an array actually. Values dot clear clone. Trace? No. Empty? No. Equals null? Can I do that? Okay. That might be an option. Mayhaps. Oh! Man, this is tricky. Let's do this inside the loop. Let's try that. Put string value equals powergens dot detailed. Oh, right. Detail info dot split. There we go. Okay, so now we have the current blocks here. So what I actually need is to say we need one up here that is not values, let's say numbers. Actually, we are going to call this values, and we'll just call this one temp. Oh, right. Semicolon. Okay. Oh, wait. No. Let's do max values, and then we're going to need one for minimum. I wasn't even thinking about that. Min values. Okay. So trim list to min max. So what we're going to do here is create a second loop. There's a lot of looping going on. I probably don't need to do it this way, but I'm trying to just kind of get it done and working. I'm not really worried about the efficiency of it at the moment. So what we're doing here is we're going to loop through each one. And ask if temp at j, or wait, I've been using I2 as my convention, haven't I, for this script? I want to make sure I'm doing it the same way each time. So if it temp at I2 equals, or, well, should I do contains? I probably should do contains, just in case there's some phantom characters or something. Let's look for max first. If it contains max and temp I2 plus 1 contains output, why is it flag there? Get that. What's your problem? Think about that, you weirdo. Alright. So if it's max output, then I want I2, 3, and 4. Oh, J. That could be why it was freaking out before. Alright, so then we want to put in max values. I'm almost thinking of I'm going to make these a list, actually. The reason being that I can just add to a string. I don't have to worry about an index. New list string. That will just make things easier. And then we'll do dot add temp I2 plus 2. And max values dot add temp I2 plus 3. And that should, in theory, say if it's max, if it's output, give us these two values. Theoretically. Will it work? Not really sure. But we're gonna try it. Now the biggest thing is whether or not how to identify them more accurately. That's the only real issue here, I guess. I suppose we could add a value before any of this and put in the name so that it can loop through and find new variables, but we're going to try and work with this. So this is max. We'll say find max. And this is find min. And I'm going to copy this because all I'm really going to do is change a few values. Like current, current, and current. So this isn't min, this should be current. Okay. Current output. Output, current output, and current output. Okay, cool. And then this will be cur values. Oops, no. No, what are you doing? I want this. Thank you. Okay. So as this loops through, theoretically, it should find all the ones that have max and output. And this is current output. And so by the time we're done, these two lists should hold, theoretically, the current output and max output of all the power generating blocks. So now what we need to do is convert to watts. Now this is going to be the tricky part, and yes, I know I had methods down here. I'm just testing to see whether or not I need them. I'm just writing at the moment. So the tricky part here is going to be finding the value. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do yet another loop. I know, lots of loopage. You could probably do this with a method, but quite frankly, I mean, quite frankly, it's going to end up being like the same idea as far as you're going to end up doing a loop anyway in another method, so it doesn't really matter that much. What I'm questioning is how to do the identifying container here that contains the loop. I'm almost thinking I'm just going to use PowerGen's count because we're going to have the same amount of objects, basically. Actually, hold on. I'm actually wondering if I even need this at all. Alright, hold on a minute. Let's test something. Theoretically, if we got to this stage, we could pass convert to watts, it returns a float value. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do total or max power watts, or max power in watts, 0. Current power in watts, 0. So bear with me a second here, because I'm kind of walking this through as I'm coming up with it. So if we did convert to watts, then we passed in temp I2 plus 2, because that should be the identifier. Just to make sure, we could just two-string it. Not that that's really necessary, but it may alleviate some problems. Versions. But it returns a value. So let's say max power in watts plus equals. So what we're doing is, if it's max and its output, put the next one as the value and the other one as the identifier, and then add it to the current value in watts. Okay. We might be saving ourselves a whole heck of a lot of looping and time here, and we may not even need lists at all, which would be amazing. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, hold on, I'm kind of thinking this through as I'm typing it out. So we're receiving the two values. So what we need is a switch case of ID. I could probably do this without the return part, and we'll do case, dang, I wish I could remember. Oh wait, it might have it. MW, I think GW, and KW is a lower, and then W is larger. Okay, so we're gonna do watts. I'm not actually sure, because we're, now we also have the, so, and then we need to, so watts, all we would, let's use this 7. 83,000. Okay. Okay. So for this one, we're calculate. Just to be sure, I don't know about anyone else. I have a hard. Yeah, I have a hard time. That just gets kind of not blurred. They all kind of. I wasn't sure because see, I'm trying to some stress off the system, but it say so now stored. That's now of course. So now yeah, and then it up this line. I can see that in a second. Instead of convert. So yeah, well, it's gonna return a string. Yeah, I'm gonna let's do actually Um, okay, we should it's just the percent. I've got it. Well, this part we need to actually. Switch case. I don't know if this will make any sense, but I'm going to actually append this, but I'm not sure. Oh, I have. This is. Two. Same thing. Actually, suppose this one we're just going to do. Now we'll also do. Okay. Now we're at that. And this part. This part. Maximum. So it's current. Multi So just so we're and from here, I'll be upfront now. If this does, I won't be seeing it this episode. Find out if it works. Okay, moment of truth here. Paste this in. That's first step in the right direction. It all compiled. One thing I do have to say, I have to get off my chest real quick. Unfortunately, I kind of did a bit of a derp, and I'm glad that I'm using two different recording softwares that it allowed me to actually notice this before the end of the episode. But in this episode, I was using XSplit, and I had been playing around with some different settings with XSplit, and I did not realize that I left on my Programming 101 setting page for the because XSplit you can do multiple different scenes, so I had one set up for different series. Did not realize that I had a silence detection filter set up on it, so some of those times there might be dead air because I was actually talking kind of quiet thinking and it didn't pick up everything. So if my dialogue and commentary sounds kind of choppy during those Visual Studio sections, I really apologize for that. I just really didn't notice it before I recorded it all, so that's my bad. Alright, moment of truth. Let's hit this button and hope that we don't break anything. Come on, where's the button? Power usage is infinity, max. Okay, that's that's not right. That's not right at all. The max power one I don't quite get. It should just be displaying the max power. max power plus equals. Yeah, I don't know why max power isn't showing up at all. I'm using the same kind of calculation as I am for current. You saw me copy and paste it. Oh. Wait a minute. I'm a derp. I am such a derp. I didn't change the math. I changed the if statement, I didn't change the math. Alright, so this should be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is what you get when you program at 2 in the morning. Not a good idea. It just happens to be the only time I had available to do it. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Gosh, I hope that's right. That's a lot of zeros. Alright, let's try this one more time. Well, the current power went down, which I don't think that's accurate, actually. I wish there was a... I wish when you got in, like, the thing here, it would actually tell... Well, it does tell you the current power, doesn't it? Reactors at 5.08 megawatts. So, power usage is 12%. So, not infinity, and not 0.62 power. Alright, well, like I said, I'm exhausted, and this is already a super long episode, so we're going to wrap this episode up here. Unfortunately, this does not work yet, but it's coming along. We got the framework, we just have to get the math right, basically. So we'll have to do some troubleshooting and stuff like that, but let me know if you guys saw any errors in my code. Feel free to let me know, and I will try and change it in between this episode and the next one and see if I can find the problem, and then we can just go, hey, this was the problem. So let me know what you guys think. In the meantime, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.